What's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com, and in today's video, we are going to discuss 5 reasons why one man's kettlebell strength program could actually be another man's kettlebell fat loss program. Now, let's dive into it. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you remember one of the original promises of kettlebell training? When the book, The Russian Kettlebell Challenge, was released, one of the selling points was, watch in amazement as high-rep kettlebells let you hack the fat off your meat without the dishonor of aerobics and dieting. Man, I just love that. It sounds awesome, right? And it was fascinating to me because at the time when this was written, which is right around 2001, 2002, the concept of high reps to lose fat was still prevalent, right? It was the predominant theory on how to lose weight or body fat while lifting weights. And yet at the time, and still today, I was doing the exact opposite with both my clients and myself. We'd actually use low reps and still burn off a bunch of fat while getting stronger in the process, which is unusual because if you've ever been on a traditional fat loss program, typically you're going to lose some muscle and you're definitely going to lose some strength. So the truth is both low reps and high reps can and do work, but it actually just depends on the individual, all right? So for example, I got an email from Keith the other day, and this is what he said. We'll put it up here on the screen. He said, I just wrapped up my second run of Giant 3.0 this morning, this time with a 20 kilo kettlebell. I started with a 16. At 41, it's my first serious training since my mid-20s, and I'm absolutely loving it. Over the past 8 weeks, I've dropped 10 kilos or 22.2 pounds, right? 22 pounds, excuse me. Gone down 2 pant sizes, and for the first time I can remember, actually have visible muscle in my shoulders. Now, here's what's interesting. The Giant 3.0 uses a rep range of 1 to 3 reps per set. And traditionally, this is a neural strength range, so you're supposed to get strong without putting on any muscle. And yet, quite to the contrary, Keith reports again, number one, he dropped 10 kilos or 22 pounds in 8 weeks, so that's roughly 3 pounds per week. He's gone down 2 pant sizes, and he has visible muscle in his shoulders. So how did he manage to lose body fat in inches on a strength program? Now, here's a quick note. Keith did not mention whether or not he made any changes in his diet, and he chalked up some of his results to what he calls beginner gains, or what some of us know as beginner gains, because he hadn't worked out in almost 20 years. Well, back to the question of why he lost body fat on a strength program. Well, it turns out that once again, losing body fat isn't quite as simple as eat less and exercise more. And getting stronger isn't quite as simple as lift heavier, brah. So it turns out the type of exercise you use matters quite a bit for your outcome. So let's just dive in here and look at some of what the research says, okay? Number one, heavy kettlebell sessions actually do burn a lot of calories, even in the neural strength ranges. Lab work on the hard style kettlebell snatch or clean protocols found that heart rates hovering at 86 to 99% of a heart rate max and an energy expenditure of roughly 20 kilocalories per minute, which equals about 400 to 600 kilocalories, or what we know as calories, in a 20 to 30 minute session. Plus, there's also an extra 150 calories of afterburn, roughly, plus or minus 150 calories of afterburn, which is also EPOC, right? Which is exercise post-oxygen consumption, or what we call an elevated metabolism. Number 2, load. So the weight of your kettlebell, not time, actually drives the anabolic hormone surges responsible for strength and fat loss. So when researchers compared light versus heavy kettlebell swings with the same total work, the heavy bell more than doubled the growth hormone and testosterone spikes, even though each set was short in duration. So the growth hormone jumped about 6 to 20x baseline, right? 6 to 20 times more than the baseline, which primes fat cells to release stored triglycerides. Point number 3, a brief testosterone bump safeguards and builds muscle. So kettlebell training in the 5RM zone, which was Keith's 20 kilo kettlebell, have been demonstrated to elevate testosterone by 10 to 15% immediately post-workout, which steers calories toward muscle growth instead of muscle breakdown, hence Keith's noticeable shoulder growth, okay? Number 4, your cortisol levels pop and then they drop thanks to what we call reflexive stability loading. Now, heavy kettlebell swing clean work actually does spike cortisol like most all high-effort exercises do, but in research by Budnar in 2014, he and his cohort showed that it was already back at its baseline, it being cortisol, 30 minutes post-set. Better yet, Migiano and his group in 2010 found that unilateral one-arm protocols like the clean and press actually and surprisingly drove cortisol below pre-exercise levels during recovery thanks to the reflexive core stability demand. Whereas bilateral work did what we expected to do, which is drive cortisol levels higher. So the end result here was you torch body fat without the lingering stress belly hormone cloud that long, high-intensity interval training or marathon cardio can leave behind. And finally, point number 5, high-effort lifts have actually been shown to blunt your hunger hormones for hours after exercise. Meta-analyses of HIIT-style sessions, HIIT being high-intensity interval training sessions, which is the intensity zone that Giant 3.0 actually lives in if you compress your rest period, right? These analyses show acylated ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, drops while PYY and GLP-1 both actually rise. Now, this can cut appetite by a few hundred calories without conscious dieting, and that explains why some people lose their appetite after intense exercise. So, for example, my son will come home from BJJ training, and I'll say, hey, man, you need to refuel, and he'll go, Dad, I'm just not hungry, right? And he's just done an hour's worth of grappling or an hour and a half worth of grappling, all right? So if you like this idea of lifting heavy and getting stronger, but you actually need to chew off some body fat in the process, then running the Giant 3.0, like Keith did with a single kettlebell, might be right up your alley. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in it in the video description below this video. And if you need a little more variety other than the clean and press, and you want some other kettlebell exercises sprinkled in, well, then I'll leave another link for one of my time-tested single kettlebell fat loss programs, which coincidentally, right, or not coincidentally, because I programmed it that way, will make you stronger and more muscular at the same time that you're losing body fat. I will leave a link to that video in the description below as well. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, smash the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, share it with a friend you know who needs to lose some body fat, right, but actually wants to get stronger in the process. And then finally, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Have you had any shock results, right, like Keith, where you actually get stronger using a strength program, but you also lose body fat in the process and you weren't necessarily expecting to do so, or vice versa? All right. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.